People often believe that life changes because of big dramatic moments, a promotion, a wedding, a huge success, or sometimes a terrible failure. But the truth is something very different. Most life-changing moments are actually very small, so small that almost nobody notices them, except the person whose life is about to change. This story begins on a cold morning in November in a busy city train station. The kind of morning where the air feels heavy and gray clouds cover the sky. People walked quickly across the station platform, holding hot coffee cups and staring at their phones. Everyone looked busy, but very few people looked happy. Among the crowd stood a man named Michael. Michael was 41 years old. He wore a navy blue suit and carried a brown leather briefcase. If you saw him walking through the station, you probably would not remember his face 5 minutes later. He looked like every other tired office worker trying to survive another weekday. For 15 years, Michael had taken the same train every morning at exactly the same time, 7:10. The train always arrived at platform 3. Michael always sat in the same seat, next to the window. His life had slowly become a routine. Wake up, get dressed, drink coffee, take the train, work for 8 hours, come home, sleep, repeat. At some point, life had stopped feeling exciting. Instead, it started feeling predictable, safe, comfortable, but also strangely empty. Michael did not hate his life, but he also did not feel excited about it anymore. And the most dangerous thing about routine is that it slowly becomes normal. You stop asking questions. You stop dreaming. You simply continue moving forward because that is what you did yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. But on one ordinary morning, something small happened that Michael never expected. When the train arrived, he entered the carriage and sat down in his usual seat. Across from him sat a young mother and her little boy. The boy looked about 6 years old. He had bright, curious eyes and endless energy. As the train started moving, the boy pressed his face against the window. He watched the city buildings pass by with excitement. Suddenly, he pointed outside and shouted happily, "Mom, look, the sun is following the train." The sunrise was slowly climbing above the city buildings. Golden light filled the sky. The boy laughed as if he had just discovered something magical. Michael looked out the window too. He had taken this train for 15 years, but he could not remember the last time he had noticed the sunrise. The boy kept talking excitedly about everything he could see. Trees, cars, clouds, the color of the sky. Every small thing fascinated him. Then suddenly the boy turned to his mother and asked a simple question. "Mom, do grown-ups still get excited about mornings?" His mother smiled softly. "Well, sometimes they do." But there was something uncertain in her voice. Michael looked down at his hands, and suddenly something strange happened inside his mind. A question appeared, the same question the boy had just asked. Do grown-ups still get excited about mornings? Michael realized something uncomfortable. He could not remember the last time he had felt excited about anything. Not a morning, not a day, not even the weekend. For the rest of the train ride, he sat quietly, but the boy's question continued repeating inside his head. When he arrived at work, he tried to focus on his computer, emails, numbers, meetings, but his mind kept returning to that simple question. Do grown-ups still get excited about mornings? That evening, Michael returned home like usual, but instead of turning on the television, he did something different. He walked to a drawer in his bedroom that he had not opened in years. Inside the drawer were old memories, photographs, notebooks, letters, and something he had completely forgotten about, an old sketchbook. Michael slowly opened it. Inside were drawings, buildings, bridges, cities. When he was younger, Michael loved drawing architecture. He once dreamed about becoming an architect. He imagined designing buildings that people would admire, but life had happened. Bills, responsibilities, safe choices, and slowly the dream had disappeared. Not destroyed, just forgotten. Michael sat down at the table and picked up a pencil. At first, his lines felt awkward. His hand moved slowly. But after a few minutes, something interesting happened. The feeling returned. The quiet focus, the creative energy. Hours passed without him noticing. For the first time in years, Michael felt something he had not felt in a long time. Interest, curiosity, maybe even excitement. The next evening, he opened the sketchbook again, and the evening after that. Soon drawing became part of his routine. Every night after work, Michael spent 1 hour drawing buildings and learning more about architecture. At first, nothing changed. His job stayed the same. His routine stayed the same. But something inside him was different. He started feeling alive again. Months passed, then a year. Michael began sharing his architectural drawings online. At first, only a few people noticed, but slowly, more people began to see his work. Then one day, something unexpected happened. A small architecture company discovered his designs on the internet. They sent him a message. They liked his creativity. They asked if he would be interested in working with them. At first, Michael thought it was a joke, but it was real. 2 years after opening that old sketchbook, Michael received an offer, a job, as a junior architectural designer. On the morning of his first day, Michael woke up before the alarm clock rang. The room was still dark, but he was not tired. For the first time in many years, he felt something powerful: anticipation. He arrived at the train station early. When he sat on the train that morning, he looked out the window again. The sunrise slowly appeared above the city skyline. Golden light filled the sky, and suddenly, Michael smiled, because he finally understood something important. The boy's question had never really been about mornings. It was about something much deeper. People stop feeling excited about mornings when they stop moving toward a life that belongs to them. Excitement does not come from comfort. It comes from purpose, from curiosity, from growth, from doing something that makes you feel alive. Michael realized that the difference between his old life and his new one was not luck. It was one small decision: opening a drawer, picking up a pencil, starting again. And that is the strange truth about life. The moment that changes everything rarely looks dramatic. It often looks small, quiet, almost invisible. But sometimes one simple question can wake up a dream that has been sleeping for years. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply begin again. Because yes, grown-ups can still get excited about mornings.